So I stepped in. First of all, before I even went up there, I passed by Jay's job, and Jay was like, he was talking to me. He was, because you know where he worked, it was like, I don't know if y'all had Dairy Barn back in the day, but it was like, it was enclosed, but they're not really, like the sides were open, you could close it. So he stepped out when he saw me coming, and we started talking. So then Jay was like, Jay goes, he was like, that bee is inside the house. And I was like, I was just not understanding where, because he wasn't normally like this, and I wasn't understanding where all that was coming from. He was like, go on in there because they waiting for you. And he was like, that effing hoe. And, you know, I could hear him like going off, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, now my stomach is starting to get really queasy. So I go into the house and I see like all of our mutual friends there, like from 7th and 8th grade, well, from 8th grade. And if I say one more time, I'm so sorry if I keep saying So I look around, I see Z is there, N is there, S is there, even though we did have we weren't really cool. I'm gonna call her Penny. Penny was there, and she had moved. She was a friend, but she had moved like a long time ago, and she was over visiting N. So it was like a whole bunch of females there. S was looking like, She was like, I see A. I pass them, and I see A. And I see C there on the other side of her. A is like, oh, Tina, and then she's kind of smiling, and she's like pulling me in, and she was like, I want you to sit down. And I'm like, what? Why? She's like, just sit down. She's like, I have something to tell you, but you need to be sitting. So I was like, sit down. Okay, so I sat down. So I'm like, what is it? She dropped the bomb, and she said, C likes me, but she said, I told him he had to break up with you first, and he wouldn't do it. So she was like, so I'm asking you, is it okay if I go with him? Now, to be honest with you, she's younger. She's in N's grade, but she don't have the same maturity as they did. She's asking me because she remembers how I used to tell her, because mind you, A never went whenever I was around R and J and N and hanging out with all those girls, she was, keep in mind, she was never there ever. I would go back and tell her stories. So then she's just thinking like, okay, you know, it's okay. Well, you used to do that with Jay. She did go with me. She used to walk with me to Jay's job. That's it. I guess from the things I said, she thought it was okay to do that because me and S used to go back and forth between the two guys or whatever. So I was like looking at her like, what the F? And C sitting there smiling with a big old Kool-Aid grin. And I heard somebody say, oh, that MF, for look at him laughing. Still like, so he's sitting over there. He was like, then he was like joking with that. He was like, oh, shut, like, I just think, now that I look back on it, I just think that he thought that I was going to fight A, like for him. You know, guys like that kind of stuff. Well, I said, you know what? You want to date him? Go ahead. Just take him. Just date him. Because at this point, you know, if you could do all this, he come to your house. Yo, he ain't mine. Okay? He ain't mine. I get up. But my heart like just broke, it shattered in like 1,000 pieces in a second, in a millisecond. So I'm not the type to cry. I don't like anybody to see me cry. You know, back then I was like hard whatever, you know. So I couldn't hold it back. The tears just started coming. And then Penny looks at me and she's like, oh my gosh, she's crying. So then N looks at me and she's like, oh my gosh. She was like this. She looks at C. She was like, you piece of SHIT. She was like, you get out of my house. And then she was like, how could you do this to her? She never did anything to you. How could you do this to her? They're arguing back and forth. Mind you, the whole time In the beginning, he was standing there, but then when A started pulling me and all that stuff hit the fan, R had exited and went into his bedroom and closed the door. N's going off on C. And she was like, you know what? She was like, you want to date her? She was like, you want to date her? She was like, well, you take her to your house because you're not doing this here. She was like, you're doing all this stuff in my house? My house? She said, everybody get the F out. Like, so she's like kicking everybody out. Yo, N did not play that. She was wild. It was wild. So then she kicking everybody out. So then he was like, come on, A, let's go to my house or whatever. I'm walking and I am crying. I mean, tears streaming my face. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm walking outside and I'm hearing like doors slamming and I hear the girls going, I just hear everybody like, oh, that's messed up. Oh, SHIT, that's messed up. And like, I'm walking away from the house and Jay's standing outside and he was like, you effing hoe. And then she was like, shut up, you ugly. She was like, shut up, you ugly MFer. You're such a D. You can suck my D and all. She just like cursing at him and stuff. So that he starts going back at her. Now that was not in his personality to do that. I've known him for years. He never popped off like that. And then he was like angry and he's like going off on her. So then C comes there. He was like, C, get your B. C, get your B. And then she's like, I'm a B. I'm a good one. And she's like going off. So she was getting ready to like swing. And then C grabs her and he was like, let's go. She was like, but I want to walk her home. He was like, no, if you're not walking her home. He was like, you don't care about what happens to her. Like, he's just like going off. So he was like, listen. So I said, just go. I said, I don't want you walking me home. I said, I just don't want you near me right now. She was like, you all right? I was like, no, I just don't want you walking me. Just go. Just like get away from me. So then C takes her and she's going off and she's still calling Jay all these names. And then Jay is like, he felt so sorry and he was like, are you all right? And I said, I just want to go home. And he was like, I'll walk you. He's like, just wait, I'll walk with you. And I was like, no, because he was working. He still was on his shift. He was like, I can get somebody to cover. I was like, no. I said, don't do that. I said, I'll be all right. So I walked home crying by myself. I get to the house and I'm like, my mother's like, what happened? What's wrong? What happened? And I'm like, I have all these tears. I'm like, I was scared, but just would talk about it. And I'm like crying. And then finally my mother gets me to calm down. And I told her that C broke up with me and he's with A. So my mother's like, she's like, that stuff happens, So then like I get calmed down. She called and my mother's like, A's on the phone. I was like, I don't want to talk to her. I don't want to even talk to her. So then I was like, tell her something. I said, tell her I'm not here. So my mother's like, she's busy right now. She can't talk. So she hangs up. So A kept relentlessly calling me throughout the week. And then finally she got to me. But you have to keep in mind that A is thinking like that the situation was the same as my situation with R and J. She didn't understand that with J, we weren't officially going out, but with C, we were official. So like she didn't understand the difference. So she's thinking like, oh, we're going to go tit for tat. Like, I just think that she wanted to have that connection with me like I had with the other girls. And it wasn't going down like that. Not that way. After a while, I started talking to her and she's just like, well, but we're going to go out. She was like, if you want me to dump him, I'll dump him. And I was like, no, just whatever. It was just so weird because after a while, she would like come by the house and she wanted me to go because he wanted to take her place. So she wanted me to go on dates with him. She was always at his house and stuff like that. Whereas I wasn't always at his house. I just think it was a cultural thing because she's like, she's Puerto Rican, but she's black. She's black Puerto Rican. And you know, she's pretty. She just, I think that, you know, they knew her dad, so I think culturally, I think she was more accepted in the home, that kind of thing. I just think that's what it was. So I'm not trying to offend anybody, I'm not trying to put anybody down, but that's what was happening at that time. That's what we had to deal with, you know, going to school and stuff like that. Not saying anybody's, you know, better than the other or whatever, but it was both sides. It was on both sides, you know. Asking me to go with her. She didn't want to go by herself. And then I was like, okay, to be fair, all right, well, she used to come with me to go see Jay. So then we were hanging out at the park and stuff like that. But the things that he used to say and do with her, I'm like, yo, he used to do those things with me. So I was telling her this. So then he's like, don't listen to her. She's just jealous, blah, blah, blah. You know, that was his spiel, you know. It's like Christmas time. She gets a bracelet. So I was like kind of hurt. She was like, yeah, he gave me a bracelet. And I was like, oh shoot. So I told my mom, and my mom was like, that's your bracelet. She was like, she was like, did he buy you something? I was like, yeah. She's like, he bought you jewelry, right? I was like, yeah. She was like, okay, that's the bracelet he bought you. Okay, that he ain't get that for her. So then what I did was I called R, and I was like, R, I said, I just have to ask you a question, real quick question. He was like, what? I said, did C ever take back the gift he got me? So he was like, no. So I was like, okay. So that I knew that was my gift. So I tell her, I was like, he's giving you the bracelet he bought me. Okay, he didn't buy that especially for you. He bought that for me. So then she go back, she confront him. And then, you know, of course, he's lying. She said, he say you lying. I was like, I don't have no reason to lie. I was like, he bought that for me. I already know that was a gift. He told me that, because at some point he did tell me he got me something. I said, he told me he got me something, but he didn't tell me it was jewelry, or did, but I didn't say all that. Eventually, she loses the bracelet. I say like within a week's time, she lost the bracelet. Can't find it. I say like I just started distancing myself from her because I couldn't take it anymore. And I started hanging out with Jay, and he was helping me through some stuff or whatever. But during that time, during that period, a bomb had dropped because C was saying there was things I was lying about, and he was saying, yo, she's a liar. There were things that I did not tell the truth about. I'll be honest about that. Like my cousin's age and stuff, because he met, I think, Cinder one time. And then he was like, yo, she a little girl and all this other stuff. I don't know when he met her, but, you know, he was like, I can't remember what exactly it was that I had said. I said something, and I don't remember what it was. And I lied about it because I just didn't want any backlash. So then it gets around that I told this lie, which it was a lie. It was. So I was like, I can't deal with you because you're not telling the truth now. So R stopped talking to me. Then another mutual friend of ours, he does the same. But Jay never did. Jay kept talking to me, and Jay was like there for me through the whole thing. A dumped C, if I didn't say that. A dumped C, and then that's when he started dropping the bomb because he wanted me out of the group. So A was like, she came to me and she apologized, and she was like, you know, I saw how much it was hurting you. You know, she was like, I didn't want to mess up our friendship. And she was like, C wasn't all that good looking anyway. And then I was like, well, I was like, well, whatever. So she's like, you know what? It don't even matter because there's more fishes in the sea. So she's like, we're going to go fishing and stuff like that. It was wild because how I knew A ever, see, for y'all to understand something, I knew A ever since we were like in school. I was like 5th grade. I met A in 5th grade, and I met her in the street when she was fighting somebody. That's how we became friends. So we were friends for so long. So it was just hard for me to cut her off over this guy that we could just throw out of the way. So that's how I'm thinking. We make amends. He tries to get me out of the group, but it wasn't working with Jay. So then finally, Jay starts coming over to my house, spending time with me and my siblings and stuff like that, and then we playing like video games and stuff like that. So he comes by, and like one point, like he's sitting like close to me, and I was like, Jay is like, I waited like my whole like preteen life for Jay to come to my house, and I was like, he's here, and I was like, oh. So then, you know, the last time I remember, I recollect him coming to my house, we were outside, and he had his hand, like he was sitting back on the stoop on my step, or like on my step in front of my house. So he's like sitting back like this, so like his hand is like near my hand, his hand's like near my finger, like his fingers are near my fingers, and I was like, oh. So I was like, oh wow, like we're getting closer. So here comes A. See that side eye, all right? She sees him. Oh, you ugly MF, what are you doing? Oh, you're so ugly. And you know, and then he was like, well, you're a effing hoe. He was like, ain't nobody, he was like, everybody know about you. You go around with everybody's man. He's like, you around town and all this other stuff. So then she was like, oh, she was like, F you. And you know, it was like they were going back and forth. So then finally, Jay is like, I'm tired of this. He gets up. He was like, you know what? I'm going. I was like, no, Jay, don't go. So then he was like, I can't stay here. He was like, you know what? When you lose her as a friend, he's like, I'll be back. So then he left, and he never came back because he never made it official, y'all. You know, I just want to ask you, did y'all ever go through that where the guy never made it official, but then he expect like all this stuff from you? So that's what happened. And he never said like, oh, we're gonna go out, like I'm gonna dump her to be with him. That's not official. So finally I get on her, and I was like, why would you say it? Like, why'd you say that? And she was like, because I can't stand him, I hate him, blah blah blah. So she leaves, and you know, I see him at school and we talk and stuff, but it's not the same. And then I said, you know, he starts backing off. He's like shutting me down, backing off. So I was like, no, I can't let this go. This is like the chance of a lifetime. Like he was just right here. He was just right here, y'all. I started going to his job and talking to him. And then the last time I actually went to his job, we had the altercation, and he was saying that basically he accused me for wanting to have sex with him. And he was like, is this what you really want? He was like, you know, that's what you really want. That's why you're coming around here like this. And I was like, no, because that wasn't it. It's just, I just wanted to be with him. That was just it. I didn't have to make out with him and do anything. I just wanted to be with him. So then I didn't know how to say that. I didn't have the words to say that because I was so hurt that he would even say those things to me. So he gets like in my face, like, but he's doing it not seriously, but like in a joking, mocking way. So he's like getting in my face, like as if like, oh, he's gonna do something. Then he tries to touch me inappropriately, and I pushed him. And then he comes back and he's like, you know, this is what you want and all this other stuff. So G walks in because that was the shift that nobody else was there. And I'm like, oh gosh. So G was like, what's going on in here? And I'm like, and then he's like trying to hype everything up. And then all I know is G tries to pin me, because that's how we used to always fight like that. So he tries to pin me, and then he was like pretending to try to touch me sexually, and I just lost it between both of them, because I really was hurt about Jay. That's really what I was hurt about. I lost it, and then all these guys start coming in. They're like, yo, what's going on? I get mad, and I just start punching anybody that was in my way, because you're not going to disrespect me and make me seem like a hoe in front of everybody and scandalize my name. So what I did was, there was like these big, huge, like 3-liter soda bottles that were heavy back then. So I pick up the one, like the soda, I start throwing stuff around, And then Jay's like, yo, he's like, stop it, like that. So then I take the soda and I start banging, like hitting everybody with it. I was just beating everybody with the soda bottle and I'm throwing it everywhere. So then they all just like pushed me out of the dairy barn. And I went to my mom's job, which wasn't far away. Actually, I was coming from my friend's house, and that's why I stopped by the dairy barn, because the dairy barn was there right before, you know, I got to my mom's job. So I was just done, and I went to my mom's job, and I was just like, I'm done with him. That's it. After C and A have broken up, of course, word gets out what this dude did or whatever. So now he's no longer under my protection. Just to go back a little bit, he's no longer under my protection, and or protected by the guys that were protecting me. So now JW and him start getting into it. They had an altercation. JW beats him up. He had a black eye. Eventually they were suspended for like a day or two. They come back. C's looking at me, passing me like that. Like, but I didn't, to be honest with y'all, to be real with y'all, I never said anything like I wanted him beat up. I never discussed it with anybody. That's not what I wanted. And all I know is that I don't know if my cousins knew what was going on. I don't know if they went back there and told my aunt. I never like explained anything to my aunt or anything. So, and I never talked to Kay to like do all this. I'm being real about that. So, but he had an attitude or whatever. I just think he was just mad because of the whole situation. And then finally, they keep like JW and C always kept going at it, and then other people started jumping in it, and then it was like he kept getting bullied, so he couldn't come back to school. And all them guys that was sitting over there telling him, oh, you need to dump her, she ugly, they didn't even stick up for him. Okay, they weren't even there for him. So he leaves. So one day I get my cousin Cinda to call C, and she did. And she was like, you don't want to talk to him? I was like, no. So she starts talking to him, and I could hear him. I could hear his kind of talking through the phone, and he asked her how I was doing, and I kind of felt a little better about that. And then before they got off the phone, he was like, tell her I said hi. I was like, I felt I had like closure. You know, I had closure with him, so I feel good about that. With Jay, it was like throughout the rest of the school year, he's walking past me like he don't know me. And that's how he left like that. He left like that. I didn't see him until I say like 6 years ago, and he was in a facility and he was going through some things, and he opened up and he was telling me about a little bit about what he was going through. And then I was able to encourage him, and I told him, you know, you need to like, you know, seek God and, you know, get closer to God and stuff like that. So, you know, we were talking, but he still had like kind of that like standoffish way. And then I ended up seeing him later on, like, because through the program he was in, he was like stationed around my house, like where my neighborhood. So I would see him walking from time to time, and he wouldn't talk. C ended up not returning to school and ended up going to Puerto Rico, where he was unfortunately robbed and murdered. Jay ended up successfully, you know, getting out of the program and did really great. He moved out of state, him and his siblings, and they're all doing good, and they're all making buku money, y'all. And A got married, and she got kids. I got married, I got kids. JW died a horrible death not too long after we graduated. And that's it. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you got any questions, leave it below. But I just would like to know if any of you guys experienced any unrequited love, and do you regret? Do you regret? All right, so I will talk to you guys later, and you guys have a blessed day.